Walt Disney Company may have thought the bad news was over as the Mandalorian Grogu begins to drop out of the box office. Well, about that. It may be time to think again, Disney. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson stars in a live-action Moana movie this summer. And what a bummer. It looks like it might be an even bigger flop than Star Wars. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back yet again to your friend and pal Pro. Yes, I am your friendly neighborhood pro. And here we go with another uh-oh for Disney. As we get started, click that like button, smash that subscribe, and let's dive into the latest news. Now, I know not everything is bad this year with movies. In fact, I've seen a lot of stuff that I really like. Have you? I saw Project Hail Mary. I liked it. I liked it a lot. Amaze, amaze, amaze. I saw, of course, the Mario movie, and it was more than okay. And the Michael movie was phenomenal. I love that they did not stray away from dealing with the pathologies of the family, but it was still a fun film that you could enjoy. Well, Moana is on the way, and on the heels of Star Wars basically going away at the box office, Disney might have hoped for a winner here. But it's not going to happen. It's not going that way. And I here on the Pro Channel am going to show you, folks, I promise you this. I'm going to show you, and nobody in the legacy media is talking about this. Nobody whatsoever, but we're going to show you definitively, by the time this video is over, that Bob Iger and the leadership at Disney has destroyed their biggest girl brand, Moana. They killed it, just like Star Wars. And I'll show it to you. You'll see. Hang tight. Out of thatparkplace.com, Moana live-action box office tracking mirrors Disney's struggling Mandalorian and Grogu. This is by Marvin Montanaro, the esteemed editor-in-chief of the website. Disney's live-action Moana is tracking for an opening weekend between 80 million and 105 million, according to the box office theory. While some outlets will undoubtedly frame those numbers as a success, they look far less impressive when placed in context. After all, this is not a new original film or a modestly budgeted family movie. Oh, this is a big one, folks, in terms of budget. This is Disney's live-action adaptation of one of the company's most successful modern animated franchises. And I'll tell you, it's the biggest girl brand they have, or at least it was. The original Moana became one of the most streamed movies in the world. While Moana 2 recently sailed past the $1 billion mark at the global box office. Under those circumstances, an opening weekend in the range as Mandalorian and Grogu should raise serious questions about audience interest. And it is. The pinpoint forecast now 92 million. Folks, if you want to run the numbers there, if it comes out at 90, we'll just do 90 for ease of math. If it comes out at 90 and does a 1-to-1 with the international, that would be a 180 opening. Okay, let's give it 20 million more. Again, for ease of mathematics, call it $200 million worldwide opening. If it has a 3x leg out, that gets it to 600 million. And that's just about break even, but it might not be going there. Now, why is it not performing well? Well, you could say, folks, that people don't understand why they need a live-action Moana that basically looks like the animated thing, but with real people faces. And here's one of those real people faces put on a doll, and you can see it's kind of disturbing. Not that the young lady who plays the role of Moana, not that she's disturbing, but I don't know why little girls are going to want this instead of the cartoon version of Moana. I don't get it. Right? And I put this on Twitter. I put this on the YouTubes, and well, you let me know. Go drop a comment and tell me why. But I want to bring your attention to something, because I'm convinced, as we watch the numbers now be as low as Mando, I'm convinced that Disney, and Bob Iger specifically, has just absolutely dropped a deuce on poor tomorrow. Do you know what that means? Don't Google it, kids. Okay? Stewie says, right? Moana 2 made over $1 billion at the box office. Moana 2 in 2024. And yay, hip hip hooray for Disney, right? Right? Well, I don't think so, actually. And I've got a reason that I don't think so, and I think it's persuasive. Let me show you why. If we look at the original Moana, which came out in 2016, if we look at this one, it made $684 million. And you might say, well, Pro, here you go again. It's very obvious that Moana 2 made a lot more money. It's very obvious that they grew the franchise. I don't know why you have to despise the wins that Disney gets. Well, what if I told you that the original Moana, adjusted for inflation, actually made $950 million? adjusted for inflation? And what if I told you that movie ticket prices actually outstripped the rate of inflation? So I think that the original Moana sold more tickets than Moana 2, even though nobody is going to put that out there publicly for us to be able to verify. I think the original Moana sold more tickets because of inflation, because I ran the math. I could go into the math. Do you want me to go into the math? Do you want me to run in through the CPI? Do you want me to run through the 38.8% cumulative inflation from 2016 annual CPI you averaged, the latest available CPI or CPI you figure? You want me to go that with that? No, you don't care about that, right? Okay, fine. I think that this number is very misleading. Let me show you something else that I think matters. We're going to go down to the box office on Moana 2. We're in the weeds here today, but I think we can do that. If we go down to the box office, here it is. Legs. We're not talking about Moana's legs, okay? Not the real legs. Nor would we talk about aerials. We're talking about how well did it stay in the box office after the opening weekend. And as you can see, after a $140 million opening weekend, which represents 30.4% of its total gross, it performed 3.29x, okay? Now what that means is that this film, Moana 2, had a pretty decent hold. Pretty decent. How does that compare to 2016, though? And I promise this will all make sense in just a minute. Well, the original had a 4.39, which is pretty darn good. 4.39. But remember, it basically sold just barely more tickets if we adjust for inflation. So it started off weaker because it was an unknown property, it was an unknown IP. But it performed just as well as the sequel, which should not happen. That should not happen. But it performed just as well in ticket sales as the original because it had tremendous numbers of people going to check it out and see it and say, what is this? I've heard great things about it. The sequel did not have that. Let me show you another thing that is interesting to me and I think may give us an idea of why it's collapsing at the box office. This live action that comes out 1 year or 2 years, a year and a half after the sequel cartoon. This is the Nielsen Artie Awards from 2024. Nielsen, of course, gathers the ratings for streaming and movies and all that kind of stuff. And they gave out some awards in 2025 for 2024's best streaming. If we go down, we're going to go way down. Oh, hey, there's Bluey. Hey, Bluey. You've been popular for a long time, haven't you, Bluey? Top streaming movie. You got to see this. Now, remember that Moana came out in 2016. And remember that this is for 2024. The movie that was streamed the most in 2024, even 8 years after it was released in theaters, was Moana. And it received the Artie Winner Award. 13 billion minutes viewed on Disney+. With over 13 billion viewing minutes accumulated on Disney Plus in 2024, Moana finished as the most watched streaming movie for a second consecutive year. The Disney favorite exhibited a bump in viewership towards the end of the year that coincided with the theatrical release of its sequel, Moana 2. This marks Moana's most streamed year ever and solidifies it as the most streamed movie since 2020, which would mean that when the sequel is released, the next year should be even bigger, right? I mean, Moana, and the sequel should land on streaming, and it should just conquer everything. It should just take over. It should just win. Oh. We should probably think again about that. I bet Disney is. In the latest ratings from Nielsen, you'll notice that there is no Moana in the top 10. Moana was in the top 10 all the time. Often number 1. But it was in the top 10 easy. For years. Years, folks. Years and years and years since the thing has been out. Now, of course, streaming didn't really take off and Disney Plus wasn't a streaming service until what, 2019? It's been there since then. And after the sequel came out, after Moana 2 came out, Moana disappeared. So here's my thesis on this, and you tell me what you think about it. I think Moana 2 is a terrible film. I think it's a very obvious, well, it's just like Mandalorian and Grogu, right? It's a TV show that they pieced together into a movie at the last minute to get the cost of Moana, the TV show, off of Disney Plus, try to make it look profitable and kick it over to the theaters. And yay, it made $1 billion. And Bob Iger, that was good for him, right? Didn't really do a lot with the stock, but it was good for Bob Iger. It made him look like he's a real genius. Even though if we adjust for inflation, you all now know that adjusted for inflation, Moana the original is probably still stronger than Moana 2. But again, I think this is a terrible movie. And I think the first Moana is actually the proper female archetype, the proper female superhero archetype, the adventurer archetype for females. And I could go into that deeply. I don't know that I want to do that again. We've done that several times. I'll just tell you that there's a reverse at the end of Moana, that Moana is attempting to be the masculine hero archetype, and she fails because of it. And actually what she's being called upon to do is be the female hero archetype, which you almost never see in modernity. And as a result, she wins the day. So that's as far as we'll go now. We can talk about that more again later. But I think Moana, the original movie, is one of the best things Disney in its modern era has ever put out. Moana 2 is a terrible, awful, obvious cash grab. It's a horrible film. So how did we arrive at a point then where Moana not only disappears from Nielsen, the sequel basically is a flash in the pan on streaming, and now the box office tracking for the live action is making this look like it could be a real stinker. It could be actually a loss. How did that happen? Well, I think what happened is that Bob Iger took the most important girl brand they had, more important than the Disney Princess line, more important than Frozen. I'm judging that based on the streaming numbers. Bob Iger, for a quick chance at redemption for him and a long-term destruction of the biggest girl brand they had, did the same thing to Moana that was done to Star Wars, which is to say, what can we do cheaply? They'll just eat it up. They don't know better. It's the Cracker Barrel strategy, right? It's just slop. They don't know better. They'll eat whatever we give them. They'll take whatever we give them. And the whole while that the media was bragging to you about Moana 2 and how good it was doing at the box office, I kept saying, no, I don't think so. I think people are getting hoodwinked. And I think this is the end of this franchise because people don't like it when you hoodwink them, when they go to see something and they say, wait a minute, whoa. The reason I like the first one has been used to confuse me and my child to go see just garbage. There's a penalty for this sort of thing. And Disney had better be careful because Toy Story 4 was not a great film either. Not a great film. And Toy Story 5, I don't know. But I'll tell you this. Moana, their biggest girl brand, looking like Star Wars right now, not a great sign for Disney. Not a great sign for Disney at all. And that is what the legacy media will not tell you. But we here, folks, we're happy to do so. And why? Because we believe in the truth with a capital T, and we believe in giving you what you need to understand what's coming up in entertainment, even before the drive-bys get a whiff, a sniff of what's on the way. All right, folks, it's a great time every time we get to spend time with you. Don't forget the Pro Show is live tonight, and we've got all kinds of content on the way, continuing to bring you what you need to know. Until the next time, folks, keep learning, keep growing, and as always, you know the line, keep having fun.